Yo, what is going on, guys, and welcome back to another Lost Ark video. Today I'm going to be going over the most efficient way to gear your characters and how to feel more powerful at tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, even into the later ends of tier 3 at 1370 plus, and how you should be gearing at that level. This was a request from a comment, so I figured I would sit down and explain it and, give you guys my tips as a mainly solo player. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So starting at tier 1, the first thing you're going to want to do is figure out your build. You're going to want to figure out what type of build you're going to go for, what stats you need for your build. Just look it up online, watch some videos. I have some class build guides on my channel, so feel free to take a look at those. But basically, once you figure out the build that you're going to go for and the stats that you need to figure out what is your mandatory engraving for that build. Basically, this is the engraving that makes or breaks the build, that gives you the most power, and for a lot of classes, that is going to be their class bonus. So the things like Mayhem Berserker or Demonic Impulse Shadowhunters. Once you figure that out, you're going to go to Lutera, and I'm going to link a video in the video description where you guys can follow that guide and get 20 green books for your class engraving. The reason why you want to go and get those green books is not only because it's free, but because green books in the market are quickly becoming the most expensive. Like this green Demonic Impulse book is almost twice the price as the purple book. So you're definitely going to want to pick these up, so that way you can save yourself the gold. That questline is going to give you 20 green books and 3 blues, so after you get those, you want to come to the market and buy the 17 remaining books that you need, and the 20 purples that you need to get it to 9. Once you get it to 9 nodes, this means that you can equip 2 of them in one slot and get yourself an instant level 3 engraving. This might seem like a lot of gold, but this is a future investment, something you were going to do at one point anyway, so really don't feel bad about it, it's not a big deal. The second thing you'll want to do is figure out your complementary engraving. This is basically an engraving that has no negatives and that helps you in your build and your playstyle. The reason why you do not want a engraving with negative effects is because you're only going to be able to get this engraving up to level 1, and basically all of the engravings that have negative effects on them as a trade-off have huge detriments at level 1 for barely anything in return. Like for example, Grudge, you take 20% more damage, however you only deal 4% more damage, so it is not worth it at all to go for these engravings. The same thing with Cursed Doll, Precise Dagger, Keen Blunt, it is just not worth it at level 1. So you're going to want to go for things like Adrenaline or Raid Captain, Spirit Absorption, things like that. So once you figure out the one that you want, you can go to the auction house, click on Ability Stone, and search for tier 1 purples, and add the engraving that you're looking for. In my case, it would be Adrenaline as an example, and you can sort this by the cheapest buy now price, and look at that. You can buy these engravings, or these Ability Stones rather, for 10 gold, and honestly, I've seen way cheaper if you're looking for something like Master Tenacity for your Mayhem Berserker, which is super popular. You can get these for as little as 1 gold. 1 gold. Ability Stones and accessories at tier 1 also don't cost any fions, so it's literally a very small investment for a nice little bump up in power. And me personally, mentally, it feels like I actually have a sort of build going, so it just feels nicer to have. And that is one of the main reasons I get it. And it also is basically free. So yeah, as long as you get +5 on that purple stone, you should be good to go. Lastly, I need to make a note about accessories. You do not need to buy accessories at tier 1, and you should not be equipping accessories at tier 1 for engravings. Your engraving is mainly going to come from your equipped one and your ability stone. You do not need to get any sort of engraving from your accessories. It is not worth it. The only thing your accessories are there to do is give you stats. You want them to give you the stats that you need, because this is going to make you play way more comfortably. You do not, I repeat, need engravings from your accessories. I've seen so many Deathblades and Berserkers even at tier 3 running around with +3 Grudge and +3 Surge and then 400 Dominance or Endurance or whatever the hell it is. It is so bad. Stats are honestly way more important than your engravings, and when you play, you will quickly realize that. Next, as soon as you hit item level 600 and enter tier 2, the first thing you're going to want to do is go to the market, head into the auction house, and buy a full set of 802 Chaos Dungeon gear. You can just put tier 2 rare armor in the auction house search, sorted by the cheapest price, and then go ahead and buy yourself a full set. Don't worry about the quality, because you're going to replace this with purple gear from the Abyssal anyway. This honestly should not cost you more than a couple of gold per piece, so you can get a full set for about 50 to 60 gold, and this is going to put you immediately at level 802, which is going to make the story of the Yorn campaign a lot easier because you're going to do a lot more damage and be tankier. This also eliminates the RNG factor from the Chaos Dungeon, so you don't really have to worry about that. You can just use all the materials and get to 840 as quickly as possible. Once you get to 840, you can then once again go to the auction house, go to ability stones, and you can go ahead and buy yourself a purple ability stone with the exact same engraving that you had on your tier 1 one. And the reason you want to do this is so that you have the appropriate amount of health and you're not getting fucked on by all of the ads and the bosses in tier 2. Again, looking for a cheap, Mayhem Berserker Master Tenacity ability stone, it costs 20 gold. Actually, I'm pretty sure I can get lower. 5 gold, okay? This is very cheap, and even if you went for a little bit of a more expensive engraving, like Adrenaline, for example, these are still 9 gold. These are very cheap, and they only cost 1 Fion, so it is very easy for you to get this. Lastly, do not buy accessories at tier 2. You might be tempted because these are only giving you 70% of what you would normally be getting, but you'll naturally get accessories by playing the game, and like I said, you're not looking for engravings from your accessories even at tier 2. You just want to have stats. An easy way to get accessories is to do Infinite Chaos, because the main bottleneck for tier 2, from my experience, are life shards. So running Infinite Chaos every week for you to get the shard bags from the Infinite Chaos vendor is actually pretty worth it. So while you're doing your runs to buy the shard bags, you're going to naturally get a bunch of crystals. When you spend these crystals at the vendor for accessories, and you dismantle those accessories, they actually get turned into honing materials. So it's an extra way of getting some shards, but the main thing is that you're getting a bunch of chances to get accessories with the correct stat, and that's honestly all you need. You don't need extra engravings. You just need your stats to be up to date, because tier 2 accessories give more stats. So overall, you barely have to do anything in tier 2. It's essentially the exact same thing as tier 1, just replacing your ability stone with a higher one, and replacing your accessories one by one as you kind of gear up. Now, once you hit tier 3, you'll have to pray to RNGesus, because you can no longer buy Chaos Dungeon armor from the auction house to immediately get to 1302. All of the tier 3 armor inside the auction house is specifically sold for tripods. So although you can't buy the dungeon armor to get to 1302, now would be a good time and a reminder to set up your tripod notifications. You just press K to enter your skill menu and then click the settings button down here, and you can now track the tripods that you actually want levels from. The reason why this is important is because tripods are a huge source of your damage, and they are pretty significant, to be honest, and you're going to be getting a lot of armor drops, and you do not want to miss on getting those nice tripod levels. Tripods are a huge source of your power, so you should not ignore them when you're gearing up. The next thing you need to do is get to 1325 as quickly as possible, because you guessed it, once again, we're going to get an ability stone from the auction house, and in order to get a purple one, you need to be 1325, and to get a legendary one, you need to be 1370. So your purple accessory, your purple ability stone, is going to be with you for quite a long time. Now, ability stones at tier 3 purple ones are pretty inexpensive. However, they do cost 3 Fions, so please keep that in mind. It's not a lot, but keep that in mind. The good news is that even though there are 2 engravings that you actually really want, I'm going to keep using the Berserker as an example, but if you wanted to get Master's Tenacity and Grudge, this is only 217 gold. This is actually pretty damn cheap. And like I said, some people might not want to spend gold on their alts or whatever, but this is going to be with your character for almost 50 levels. So it is definitely an investment that I think is well worth it, and I would recommend that you do so. The thing is, the reason why you want to have 2 engravings that you actually like, you're going to want to try to get them both to +5. And the reason why you want to get them both to +5 is because for your accessories, if you do end up buying accessories, you're going to want +2 of these exact same engravings on all of them, which 5 from the ability stone and 10 from the 5 accessories is going to equal to 15, aka 2 level level 3 engravings. Combine that with the 2 engravings that you already have equipped on your actual character, that is 3 level 3 engravings pretty early on into tier 3. However, the problem with that is that accessories cost 9 fions. This is very, very expensive. You can get a very decently rolled purple accessory early on into your tier 3, and it's not going to cost you a lot of gold, but it's going to be 45 fions if you buy 5 accessories total. Plus the 3 from the ability stone, that's 48 fions. That is quite a lot. So a lot of people might not be willing to buy accessories, and that's okay, because you should not be focusing on accessories after you get your ability stone. You instead need to be focusing on gems. Now, sometimes it will be cheaper to buy a level 5 gem, and sometimes it's going to be cheaper to just buy 3 blue gems of the same kind. Now, buying gems from the auction house is a little finicky because sometimes it is easier or cheaper to just straight up buy a level 5 gem than it is to buy 3 blue gems and turn it into a level 5 gem. So for example, if I wanted to get a damage increase gem for Perfect Shot, I can get one for 680 gold. This is super cheap. This is a 15% increase in damage for 680 gold. Compare that to blue gems. If I wanted to buy them, as you can see, there's only 1 level 4 gem, so I couldn't even buy 3 of these and turn them into a purple. And even if I did, they would be more expensive than the purple one. So when it comes to browsing for gems on the auction house, I definitely recommend that you be patient and be crafty and check all the available alternatives. But gems, at least level 5 gems, are a good stopping point for tier 3 content right now. So this is the time that you want to focus on getting level 5 on all of your necessary abilities. Now for some classes, this is going to be super cheap because you only need a couple of gems. Like for example, if you play Shadow Hunter or Deathblade, you only need like 2 or 3 gems. You just need a couple of gems for Blitz Rush, Soul Absorber, and Blade Surge. And then for Shadow Hunter, obviously, you only need the Demon Skill, cooldown, and damage gems. So they're very, very economical to build. Paladins as well. But for other classes that have a lot of abilities, it is going to be kind of expensive. So I highly recommend that you guys take your time. Also, a friendly reminder that gems do not cost any fions in the auction house. So this is actually not too bad of an investment to make at this stage. And now finally, once you are 1370 plus, this is the time that it is going to be very expensive, and this is big boy territory, and a time where you kind of have to start being picky with what you buy. If you're looking to get a 4-3 build, which is currently not very optimal for Gunslinger, but the point is, if you want to get a 4-3 loadout, aka 4 level 3 engravings, the only way to do it is by getting a stone that has +6 on both of these engravings. And you should try to make these 2 the engravings that are the most expensive for you to buy on your accessories. You combine that with 2 equipped engravings in your slots, and this gives you 2 level 3 engravings right off the bat. The way to get your other 2 level 3 engravings is through your accessories. You're gonna have to get accessories that have +3 on both engravings, and they're the engravings that you want. Obviously, with the correct stat. This is what makes them so expensive. However, if you are patient, you can definitely not spend that much. The necklace is probably going to be the most expensive piece because it is very specific. You need to have 2 different stats plus the 2 engravings on it that are correct. My build is a little whack. I'm using a Berserker's Technique necklace because it is actually mathematically impossible to get Grudge 3, Keen Blunt 3, Hitmaster 3, Adrenaline 2, and Peacemaker 1. Even though it is 60 stat points total, the problem is that the last 2 engravings can't be split 10-5 because you're getting +3/+3. So the only way you can split them is 9-6, which means that both of them are going to be at level 1. So if I'm going to have both of them at level 1, I just bought a super cheap necklace that has +3 Grudge, so that way I could get it, and then have high quality so I can get the most most amount of stats. Eventually, I will replace that, but this is the most optimal thing you could have so far, unless you went Peacemaker 4, which I don't really like because I just get more from Adrenaline. I get crit rate on all my weapons, and damage as well. And that's basically the key. You need +6 on both of your stones, like I said, level 9 nodes, and then +3 on all of your accessories. And this is going to be pretty expensive, and I feel like this is where people mostly get stuck on. It isn't as expensive as you might think. This setup cost me maybe 18k total, so it wasn't really that expensive at all. My stone was like 1k, my necklace was like 600, this earring was like 3k, and then the rest of the things I can't remember exactly how it was, but it's been like about less than 20k, I would say, for this loadout. So you can definitely get away without spending way too much. And the reason why you want to save your Fions is because at 1370, legendary accessories cost 15 Fions each. So that is definitely not cheap, and you're going to need a lot of these. But yeah, guys, that is my optimal guide on how to gear your characters at each tier. Hopefully you guys found this video useful or helpful in some way. I know that for 1370 plus it seemed kind of cut and dry, but that's really how it be like it is sometimes. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys have any questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Peace.